Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video where today we return here with round 8 of season 5 of the F1 22 My Team Career Mode. Yes, we're back this time round here for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Of course, if you missed out on the video that went live earlier on in the week from Monaco, would highly recommend going back and checking out. But of course as well, quickly before we jump in with some spoilers, I just want to say a massive thank you to all of you for the continued support. At the time of recording this, less than 700 subscribers away from 100k. We are so close now, so if you are watching this and you haven't clicked that big red button, I would highly recommend doing so down below. I'd also greatly appreciate it as well. But yeah, looking towards though this weekend's Grand Prix, Charles Leclerc still leads the way, 50 points ahead of myself, 18 ahead of Lando Norris. We still desperately need to try and end this run of winless races here in this series. Baku has often been a good track for me. It's been a happy hunting ground, one that I do really enjoy. Hopefully, please, today be the day we finally get our first win of the year. Jumping right the way then to Q3 here, ready for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. The pace is looking good, but I tell you what, in a maxed out car, this track is so difficult to try and get that one lap nailed. Of course, the AI can do it just over and over, but for me, it's trying to hit all those braking points, getting no wheel spin in the traction zones. First lap is going to be done on a scrub set of tyres, so we'll probably be a little way down. Oh, but yeah, top times are going to be in the 37s around here. 6 kilometres in 97 seconds is madness. Of course, we took that pole position last weekend at the Monaco GP, so we really are just going to have to try and laser focus up on the final run. You know, that lap did feel very good around the Principality as we rub against the wall down in towards the final proper corner here in Azerbaijan. They're trying to get the car wedged over those curves through the final couple of turns. Of course, now we're just going to navigate our way through the fast chicane. They're completely pinned. Mick Schumacher goes fastest on at 1:38.3, so the pace has really dropped then from the Q2 times. That might be Charles Leclerc just in front of me as we head up towards the line. No, I don't think it is, but up over the line then, we're going to set a 38.6. Everyone has done a really slow first lap. Are we all waiting just for the final set? Well, Lando Norris has been the one to decide that he wants to go for an absolute worldly of a lap. There are 1:37.5 for the Ferrari man, of course, second currently in the Drivers' Championship, but both myself and Charles Leclerc way further down the roster than we'd like to be. Unfortunately as well, it looks like I might come into a bit of traffic here, as that's definitely not a line back down towards turn 1. Focus on that, we can still get right at the front. Come on, what is that? That's got to be a grid penalty for Lando Norris there. Spent most of Sector 2 just in the way. He had so many opportunities to move there down through the first part of the lap. And is that just Ferrari error not forming their young driver as to when and where he should be getting out of the way? But either way, it's really not done me any favours there. That's not going to do myself any good either. So we head out through the final couple of corners. Decent traction at the final turn might save us, but Charles Leclerc has not had the qualifying performance he would have wanted either. We're only going to go down to a low 38 and can't help but feel that Lando Norris might have saved himself pole position here by blocking me up towards the line. Of course, you just watch the clock slowly tick by. It's going to be a 38.1, 38.2 there, only good enough for P4. Well, there we go then, Lando Norris on the pole ahead of Valtteri Bottas and Zhou Guanyu there. 6 cars from 6 different teams make up the top 6, but yeah, we need to try and win this one here today. I feel like we got much better race pace than we were able to get there in qualifying. Lando Norris saved himself But will he have enough in 26 laps worth of action? Let's get into it. It's Azerbaijan GP time.
Good afternoon and welcome from Baku. This was the arena, if you think back to 2017, of one of the most eventful races of modern history, with controversy behind the safety car, last-second overtakes, and a historic podium for Williams and for Lance Stroll. Let's find out what lies in store for us this year. It's time for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. The Baku city circuit measures roughly 6 kilometers, and it's made up of 20 corners and 2 DRS zones. The circuit winds around the narrow city, through the old town, and even brushes against the city's medieval walls. However, as beautiful as the setting is, this track is also a ferocious technical challenge, where the smallest of mistakes could lead to a catastrophic consequence for any one of our drivers. Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. Lando Norris will lead us away from pole position, and Valtteri Bottas will line up alongside. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Joe, Mr. Monaco, Pierre Gasly, and Mick Schumacher, Ricciardo, Ocon, Leclerc, and Oscar Piastri, Yuri Vips, Albon, Felipe Drugovich, and Perez, Tsunoda, Stroll, Daniel Tickton, and Nicholas Latifi, Schwartzman, Magnussen, Daruvala, they'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty, and Théo Pourchaire. Now it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to the track.
After the points finished last race, let's aim to keep that momentum going.
Mark still doesn't quite get the vibe, does he, in this series? We need wins, and we need wins very, very soon. In terms of strategy, though, often the way to go on F122 is soft to medium. And it reckons it might just about be possible. So we'll try and do that. You know, we'll see how the early laps go in this Grand Prix. Of course, I've done a fair bit of racing around Azerbaijan in recent times on the channel. So fingers crossed that can come and do us a favour as well there. But starting P4 on the grid, we'll have the inside line for turn 1. And the car in front of me is on hards. I'm on softs, the car behind me is on mediums, so no one really knows what the strategy is going to be. Maybe safety cars will affect things here. Well, everyone trying to get heat into their tyres here, but of course we're going to have to go all-out attack early on in this GP there. Lando Norris don't actually know what tyres he's starting on this afternoon. Of course, I can only see, well, one's still McLaren driver, and one of their former drivers, their boss, still has to desperately prove a point over at Red Bull, as I think Lando Norris is on hards, I want to say. Yeah, he is. Right, let's do this thing though. Azerbaijan Grand Prix waiting on those 5 red lights. Lights out and away we go. Let's just try and monitor the wheel spin. Oh, a little bit there in the second phase. Oh, as we head down towards turn 1. Wasn't aware I was giving Mick Schumacher as big of a squeeze as I did. I'll actually get a warning for that one. So we went through the first corner. I was a bit worried I was going to get squeezed out on the inside. As old Bottas and Zhou Guanyu coming together there, the former teammates heading through the second turn. I mean, this is what happens around the tight, twisty Baku circuit on lap 1, as we're going to try and have a look to the inside of Pierre Gasly, who's going to try and think about a move up the inside of Bottas at the same time there. Somehow we all make it through without any contact, and we are back to where we started then in this Grand Prix. But like I said, we've got to be very, very aggressive early on in this GP. Of course, we need to try and make moves, and make moves soon here. Valtteri Bottas, Zhou Guanyu starting on those hard compound tyres. Lando Norris as well. He'll have just seen all this carnage going off behind him, but he will be trying to break free early on here in the Azerbaijan Grand Prix as we thread our way up through the castle for the first time. Then, weirdly enough now, it doesn't really feel that scary in the Formula 1 games anymore. Maybe just because I've probably done it genuinely well over 1,000 times, I would have thought, since its inception on F1 2016. That is a worrying number to think about, but more than likely true. But yeah, as we wind our way down the hill though, to come towards the end of lap 1, of course we have to monitor the tyres early on in this GP as well. It's all well and good going aggressive, but we need to make sure these tyres can go to probably around about lap 10. If then we want to go mediums to the end, they've got to be so careful of that wall on the outside of the final corner, but you know, already you can see quite a bit of wear on those tyres, so we are going to have to be quite careful. Lap 1 survived though. Lando Norris, second in the championship, leads the way. I'm pretty certain if it were to finish like this, he would retake the lead of the championship. Because we have still got that grip premium over those hard compound runners early on in this race. To the outside then of Valtteri Bottas in towards turn 3. Well, the Red Bull again tries to give me a squeeze, but we will swoop by.
Nice work, mate. That brings you up a place.
And the one-time champion overtakes the two-time champion there. Back into P3, into the podium places. Right, let's see how competitive our straight line speed is then as we head out of the final couple of turns. Try and stay close to the McLaren of Zhou Guanyu. I have tried to run less aero this weekend. You can actually see just how effective that is there as out in the final corner. Using plenty of battery, almost 220 miles an hour there as Zhou Guanyu certainly wants to give me a car width and next to nothing more. A second quicker than Lando Norris at the end of this lap as well. And luckily, this was the other thing I really wanted to make sure that we were, is inside the DRS range of Lando Norris then. So he's not going to be able to break away as much as he would like early on in this race. But if I get the jump on him, I've then got to try and break away, which is no easy feat. Gasly up to 4th as well. Bottas is struggling. Of course, one of the other great things about these soft compound tyres is, of course, if we get into the lead of the GP, they should take a bit less of a battering. But when we're not stuck in the dirty air, then make sure we just get the car threaded through the final couple of corners. Let's have a look what the speed's going to be like this time round with the DRS as well. They're over 225 miles an hour, wheel to wheel with Lando Norris as we head back down towards turn 1. Another new fastest lap of the afternoon. Of course, very, very early on still, but a 1 minute 40.5, but 225 miles an hour. That's about 370 kph there or thereabouts. That is well and truly mind-boggling in a Formula 1 car with still a fair amount of downforce underneath it as well. I hate to think just in real life how badly this would have been porpoising down that straight, but yeah, breaking away though from Lando Norris. We have to get him out of the 1 second zone. But yeah, early on this race probably couldn't have got much better for us. Looks like we're already getting a warning about the tyre wear, but we have got Lando Norris out of the range, as that is still very, very close to the outside wall through the final corner. Rear tyres only at 40%, they can go quite a distance around this venue. Let's just focus up, try and make sure that we keep them clean and tidy. New fastest, another new fastest lap on 40.3. Let's just keep trying to take what we can out of them, but sensibly. It's the other thing I always forget as well around Baku is just how quickly the tyres tend to fall off around this circuit. They go from feeling absolutely fine just 1 lap ago to now it feels like I'm trying to race around an ice skating ring. So we head down the hill in towards the final couple of turns. Definitely going to have to peel into the pit lane at the end of this one. But yeah, I wonder if soft, medium, soft could be viable around this venue. Of course, you don't lose too much time in the pit lane here at Baku, and like I said, of course, you know, there's every possibility that we might get a safety car in today's GP. I don't even know really where we're going to re-emerge. I think we might be close to the Red Bull of Sergio Perez looking on the mini-map as... it said 50, but it was red. That really did get the old ticker going then for just a second. I thought we might have picked up a 5-second penalty in this Grand Prix, but where is Charles Leclerc then in all of this? I think he's down in 10th. Might be 9th, sorry, yeah, 9th behind Alex Albon. Of course, he'll get promoted up to 8th now, thanks to us pitting. But we're not far behind our teammate Charles Leclerc, who is really not having a good afternoon of it. We've actually come out slightly ahead of where I thought we would. We have got Oscar Piastri there around our outside, and you know what? He squeezed me out at Imola a few weekends ago. I'll return the favour here. Re-emerging in P11 then of this GP, but of course, if we can get close to Lando, 2-stop is not a bad plan. Esteban Ocon first on the old hit list. Well, a lot of these moves are going to be fairly dependent on whether the AI in front of me has got the DRS on the car in front of them, and Esteban Ocon certainly doesn't off of Yuri Vips there. Looks like Yuri Vips doesn't either, but to be honest, I mean, the straight line speed we've got today, absolutely ferocious there as we pull alongside Esteban Ocon, practically past him before we even got into the DRS window. So we head back down in towards turn 1. We might actually be close enough to go for a move on Yuri Vips as well, but love seeing both Williams up inside the top 10 early on here. Looks like Gasly able to go only 1 lap more than me, and he was on mediums there, so perhaps the mediums can't go as far as I originally thought they would. I was sort of eyeing up end of 18, end of 19 here, but closing in on Yuri Vips, who wants to give me a big old squeeze there. I thought he'd move back out towards the racing line, towards the corner, but no, apparently he just wanted to make both of our lives more difficult. We are through, we're into 8th. Next up, Charles Leclerc. must have been me having the bad luck early on this season, but Charles Leclerc around this circuit does really just not seem to have it together, as around the outside of our teammate will try and look, and honestly I wasn't even meant to be able to get a run there on our teammate. It was just the fact he got so much wheel spin off the corner before, and I don't know what it is, but he's just not settled around this Azerbaijan circuit, and this could be a big opportunity. I mean, both Lando and I eyeing up the chance to take some big points out of him. Of course, I need 50 points. Lando Norris only needs 18 at the moment, so we head our way up through the old town. Unfortunately as well, that battling with Charles Leclerc has forced him outside of the range of Alex Albon, who might just still get the DRS off Mick Schumacher in front of him as we plunge down the hill. So careful of the close proximity of the walls around this venue, but I don't think Albon is going to quite stick within the range there. Mick Schumacher is certainly not with that sort of run out through the final couple of corners. Both of us dropping back further behind the Alpine. It's so difficult to work out where the grip's going to be when you're on those inside the dirty air on not completely fresh tyres. But again, another car passed pretty much before we even got into the window. 223 miles an hour. It sounds a little bit painful right on the red line, but we've made it through, and now we'll even get the DRS off Mick Schumacher as well. But I think unless he gets a run on Daniel Ricciardo in front of him, I don't quite think we're going to be able to do anything there. As you can see, again, wheel spinning slightly, almost a half distance in this Grand Prix. We are doing phenomenally well, if I do say so myself, but this is Baku. It can change in an instant, as it almost does there. So actually getting a run on Mick Schumacher through the old town, trying to have a look around the outside of the Alpine car as we head down the hill. No. That's not what we needed there. Pick up a tiny bit of front wing damage. Actually get a warning for a collision with Albon. Not really too sure what we could have done. Albon, by the looks of it, crashed into me, but yeah, maybe just a bit too brave though. I don't know whether Mick's picked up a bit of front wing damage as well, as Albon definitely has that very slow off of the final chicane, as we'll try and slipstream back past him on the run down towards turn 1. I mean, it is only light green, so it shouldn't cost us too much there. It looks like Albon and Leclerc both peeling into the pit lane. We need to try and get a run on Mick Schumacher though, back down towards turn 1, but that might really hinder us later on in the day. Let's see now if we can get a run on Mick Schumacher as we head down out of the first couple of turns. No DRS to help him this time out. Again to the outside of the young German. Whoa, we did want to try and keep the nose there, but we gave him a fair old squeeze, but I think we just about gave him enough room. We've made it through. Next up then, Daniel Ricciardo. Let's see how much this damage is costing us. There we go. That goes to show just how little that front wing damage is costing me. Purple through the final sector on that lap, and still closing in on Daniel Ricciardo there as top 4 in this GP. All started on the hard compound tyres. We've gone fastest. Of course, yeah, we did have the DRS down that back straight, if you will, but yeah, going another new fast lap of the day there. I want to try and get into the 139s at some point, but now are we going to be able to get a run on Daniel Ricciardo through the first couple of turns? I think we just messed up turn 2 a little bit there, which is going to compromise my run down this little back straight, but you know, we've made a couple of moves through the next few corners before this afternoon. If the AI tend to get a bit slippy out of there, which Daniel Ricciardo has not. Of course, all this does is help Daniel Ricciardo's teammate in Lando Norris. Fellow Ferrari car, of course, will just have that little bit of extra time to pull away from me. So just look, I think the way this race is going, I think we will have to bolt on a fresh set of softs right towards the end of the afternoon. So of course, effectively, we are racing Daniel Ricciardo. We've both got one more pit stop to go this afternoon, but clean around the outside of the Ferrari will go. And we are now up into P4 of this race as Ricciardo. Then the first of the front runners to blink. 12 laps on a set of mediums is not insane, but still a fair old way. Just had a warning light flash up on the MFD as well. I've had a quick check. It is for gearbox wear, so it's nothing that should suddenly just go up in smoke or anything like that. Of course, that's what happened to us last year here on the Baku city streets, but we're still so much quicker than these cars. Of course, they're on dead hard compound tyres now at this stage of the afternoon, so I'll take a bit of free DRS off of Valtteri Bottas, but it wouldn't surprise me if all 3 of these cars, yep, they are, we're all going to peel into the pit lane then. Big slipstream run, 226 miles an hour there, as I think Bottas actually broke just as I pulled out of the slipstream, but back into the lead then of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. But we've got to go a few more laps, and then we'll be heading back over onto soft compound tyres. So now we've got to monitor the gap to Lando, but finally into those 139s, We certainly have some incredible pace today. So just a little bit of bookkeeping then. Lando Norris, the gap as he came out of the pit lane then, of course, had to take that lap to get the tyres up. Sat at about 12 seconds. So, whoa, don't want to do that. Come on. Playing a risky game still. Probably going to pit the end of 19, I think. This is probably the safest balance between getting enough out of these mediums and taking enough out of the soft compound tyres. But it is still going to be difficult. We're going to have to pretty much push to the end of this race if we want to close in on Lando again. Oh, that's not good. Please don't say the car's falling apart late on in the day. It's actually been a little while since I've had a DRS failure on F1 22. Normally, the game's just been throwing, you know, the full-blown engines going out in a puff of smoke on me, but a DRS failure, maybe not the end of the world still. Gap to Norris is coming down, but not particularly drastically, as we are going to tell the team in just a second that we're going to box pit confirm end of 19. Right, well, let's use some of this battery then as we head out through the final couple of turns. Sure, of course, we'll get a bit of free recharge through the pit lane, so we may as well try and take as much of it as we possibly can. Medium tyres haven't really fallen away too badly, but definitely would rather have a nice fresh set of softs to see us through to the checkered flag. And the hunted becomes the hunter once more then. Lando Norris will re-emerge in the lead of this Grand Prix. Bottas has really fallen away from Zhou Guanyu over the last few laps, so I'm not too sure what's going on there, but I think we'll be out around the Red Bull, or maybe between him and Daniel Ricciardo. But why have we got a warning light up? Oh, DRS isn't it still? Right, panic averted. But yeah, we're actually going to re-emerge then just behind Zhou Guanyu. 7 laps to go then of this Grand Prix. About 7 seconds to Lando Norris once I've got these tyres up to scrub. Of course, no DRS is going to make these overtakes a whole lot more difficult to try and complete, and is going to require a lot more DRS as well. Sorry, ERS even, I should say, could really do with that going back online there as we close in on Zhou Guanyu back towards turn 1. But please don't say this is going to make the difference this afternoon. I need to try and get a run on the McLaren car there as we try and get the power down out of turn 2. We're going to start gaining on him pretty quickly here. This car has had phenomenal straight line speed. So it looks like that red warning light has gone away. We might have DRS then enabled back at the end of this lap. I've never understood why they don't tell you it's been re-enabled on F1 22, but yep, looks like we're going to have DRS once again. 5 laps to go here in Baku. There is Zhou Guanyu really struggling to try and put the power down. Lando Norris is losing a little bit of time to the pair of us though at the moment, so clearly that Ferrari car is starting to struggle at the front of the field. But now this move is going to be so much easier to complete on Zhou Guanyu. Not if I nudge that wall. That is incredibly scary. As we round our way out the final corner, tucked up, claim as much slipstream as we possibly can to the left-hand side. Goodbye, Zhou Guanyu in this Grand Prix. And now there is one car between us and victory here in Azerbaijan. It's a Ferrari. It's driven by a fellow young Brit. But will it be them or will it be us winning today? Lando Norris, of course, has already had a win this season, but like I said, if he won this one, I think he would. I think he'd be tied now with Charles Leclerc. Looking at it, I think Charles Leclerc is 6th place in this Grand Prix, so they'd be tied once again at the top of the table. I desperately, though, need to finally break my duct. 4 laps to go then. The gap to Lando Norris, you can see rapidly coming down as we head down the start-finish straight. The gap, 4 seconds. Another new fastest lap for us. Down into the low 139s now. Come on, Lando. I'm using so much battery at the moment to try and make sure we're claiming free time down this front straight. 3 laps to go. The gap, 2.6 seconds now on Lando Norris. Big time gain that time round. But it is still going to be mighty close. Every time I go through that final chicane, I panic just a little bit more there. These tyres definitely aren't providing the same grip that they were just a couple of laps ago. 2 laps to go. 1.7 seconds as we cross over the start-finish line. Lando Norris is giving that Ferrari car everything he possibly can to steer it to his 2nd race victory for the Maranello-based team this weekend. We're still looking for our first win, of course, not only this season, but our first win representing Audi. Charles Leclerc took 4 on the bounce early on in the campaign and got a 5th last time out in the Monaco GP. I've had to play second fiddle to him so many times early on this season, but this weekend, unless something catastrophic happens, I am going to beat out Charles Leclerc. But the real question is, will I get close enough to Lando Norris? We need to try and make sure these tyres make it all the way to the final lap there. And I mean, through the first sector now, he's really been able to keep those mediums in a very, very good place there. It is only around the higher speed stuff that they're gaining much time at this Ferrari car there as we wind our way through the Old Town for the penultimate time in this Grand Prix. I was hoping now we might just be within the DRS range of Lando Norris, but we certainly aren't just yet unless he makes a mistake. Heading down the hill though, trying to make this track as wide as possible, leaning up against those barriers everywhere we possibly can. Will we find an opportunity in towards the final lap here in Baku? There you can just see Lando Norris able to put tremendous traction through the final big acceleration zone on this lap. Will again open up the ERS though as we head out of the final corner. We need to try and somehow get within the DRS range of this Ferrari car there. The gap continues to plummet as we head back down towards turn 1 there. 1.3 seconds to Lando Norris, but we have to try and get within the range there as really close to that outside wall through turn 1. Of course, we've already had almost a coming together early on in this weekend. Back during our final qualifying lap there, I'm still amazed that Lando didn't get a 5-place grid penalty for that one. But as we head back down in towards turn 3, just trying to make sure that I'm hitting my brake markers, not leaving an inch to spare around this Baku circuit. It's come down to the wire so many times in the past around this venue. Will we get another one today? We've got yellow flags out. Someone's going slowly. That's a Merc out on the front straight there, so no idea what has happened to them or which one it even is, but could those yellow flags potentially change things on the final lap of this Grand Prix there? Lando Norris is just again, like I said, you can see, able to pull away ever so slightly around this lap, but can we just try and get close enough somewhere, somehow? Don't know which car it is. It's Pierre Gasly out of the Grand Prix then on this final lap, and look at that, his yellow flags all the way down the start-finish straight. So if we were even able to get within the range of Lando Norris there, which I slapped the wall down the hill, I don't even think we'd be able to anyway there, as rounding our way through the final proper corner then of this Azerbaijan Grand Prix there, getting as close to the wall as we possibly dare, using the battery at the final couple of corners. But again, our first win of the year is gonna go missing. Lando Norris here in Baku is gonna take his second win of the year for Ferrari, and like I said, had we even got the DRS, we wouldn't have been able to do anything about it.
Thank you for all your hard work out there. That was a strong drive and a great finish. Well done.
Well, what a drive that was to take the win for Ferrari today. Tell me, Ant, how did they manage to achieve this win?
Well, I honestly feel it was down to the driver and car today. I mean, we can talk driver skill all day, but if you don't have a solid team to back that, you're never going to get anywhere. When you hit that sweet spot of having both an excellent driver and an incredible car, that's when you see results like those we witnessed today.
Ferrari are at it again. An excellent performance at today's Grand Prix, and they're certainly a team that know what they're doing out there. Let's see how the driver standings have changed. Well, that lead at the top has somewhat shrunk today. Well, after an incredible day of racing, who was your driver of the day, Ant?
I have to give it to Mr. Monaco. There was a lot going on all down the field, but they were the only one who I really felt maximised their potential.
It's time to see how things are shaping up in the Constructors' Championship. No change in the top spot then, but with today's points, their hold on that lead is getting weaker. There was also a strong showing from the McLaren team today as they make their way up the standings. I'm equal parts exhausted and elated with this weekend of Formula One, so be sure to join us for the next one.
Well, there we are then, the end of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, and it is Lando Norris taking his second win of the year there. But how many times am I going to come P2 in this series? It's becoming impossible to believe, in all honesty there. Zhou Guanyu in P3 ahead of Bottas and Ricciardo there. Charles Leclerc, like we said, a really off weekend for him, down in P6. Other surprises, I guess Perez not scoring points again, but that hasn't been too uncommon this year. And Pierre Gasly, the only car not to see the checkered flag, but is still classified. Means championship-wise, 1 point between Lando Norris and Charles Leclerc now back at the top of the table. We have carved down the gap to 39, which does seem a lot more manageable than the 50 points it once was there. Zhou Guanyu up to 4th ahead of Mick Schumacher. Stroll drops down to 6th ahead of Ricciardo and Sergio Perez there, with Bottas jumping Albon and Yuki Tsunoda. But when am I going to get some luck in this championship? Constructors-wise, still leading the way there. McLaren jump Alpine by a single point. Williams jump AlphaTauri as well, again by a single point there. And you can see Mercedes are still behind Haas after 8 races of this campaign. But we'll be back very, very soon. I think we're heading out to Canada for next weekend's Grand Prix there. Thank you all so much for watching this video. And yeah, we will come back. We are not going to give up. We need to try and win a Grand Prix. Please, Matt, I'm begging. None of these videos would be possible without the help of our channel members, so a massive thank you to all of the names you see on your screens currently for helping support the channel. You can join them by clicking the join button down below, and yeah, thank you once again to everyone that continues all the insane support on my work.